Okay, hello everyone. It's Zara Altair, and this is the Midweek Zap. And welcome all the Zapsters. Good to see you all. It was a busy break, but it's great to be back. And today we're going to be talking about Conceptual Intelligence Search Engine, CISE, with Peter Hatherley. And Peter, go ahead and introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about CISE and who you are.
Yeah, great to have you back, Zara. And I missed it as well, so it's really good to have it back. All the Zapsters back and enjoying, what we gain. And my name's Peter Hatherley, and I'm from Intermart in New Zealand. I also run a company called Latent Semantics, which is the supplier of CISE. CISE is a conceptual search engine, which it basically it works in two ways. It works with searches that you do within a database that's been created, and it also acts as a CISE spot. So it will go and have a look at other data, big data, and analyze that as well to create custom word banks. So that's basically a short intro.
Okay, so custom word bank. So why are those important? Why would anybody want one?
Right, good question. And the thing is that because Google is analyzing websites semantically these days, and we've had a lot of information here on Google Plus that we know that they're doing that. So they're looking at adjacent content, they're looking at synonyms, they're looking at floating context. So that context is very, very important. So when you're actually writing a web page or a blog or maybe even a book, context is incredibly important. You've got the conceptual side of it, and then you've got the context. And so SEO products are very more context-based in the sense that they need to be that way. So Google will look at it and think, this is really high authority content, and it's connected. So, and I think it's a good point to bring in what we were discussing in the green room first, is we've got to think semantically to write semantically, right? So we can sit there and think, say we're looking at any particular subject, we can think, oh, this is connected, it's connecting all the dots, right? So we could go through that process and it would probably take us about 6 or 7 hours to make a decent list. What CISE does is create that list instantly. So then you've got that list available to then build your own word bank. So basically building a word bank is building a custom set that you're going to utilize in your writing. So what it does,
the custom set can be applied both to the business that you're writing about. I wanted to explain this because it's quite versatile. So you get a custom set about your business. Say, I don't know what, a week and a half ago, I was working with a plumber who works on clearing drains. And so Peter and I worked together on a word bank for that business. But also, as a content creator, when you have your business in mind, and you're creating content for that business on a regular basis, then there's the possibility also of you have your set of words for the business, but also for each article that you write, that you can create another set of words that really focus in on that particular subject that you're writing about, so a certain aspect of the business. So it really goes deep, and it's really quite amazing. But I want to bring out something that Sean said. Is this going to come up? Come on, there you go. Okay, hi Sean. He says, as Minnie Gray always states, writing is a journey of discovery because until you start, You never know what will happen, and you can be surprised by what you do. Expect the unexpected, Zapsters. And
That's very
so true,
true.
even when you're working with word banks.
That's exactly true, because then you've got your word bank, then you can search through CISE and it will connect to the wider database. So you're actually getting things that are not in the word bank, and then you can add that to the word bank. So you're and one of our products, which I'll be speaking about later, you can actually add words in straight away. So you can actually just add things that you think about and that you want in there. So that's a very useful aspect of it. So,
yeah, Peter, let's start. Let's start with, a little bit more about semantic thinking. I know you were showing me a mind map earlier. Let's take a look at that. I think that's really help people visualize things.
Okay, let's just do here it is here. Right. So this basically gives a mind map of what the apps are for CISE. So in our premium product, Semantic Author, which is the new product that we're releasing today, this product was actually beta tested in Christchurch for a very long time, and in my home city. And we did it with local agencies who are working in the web design industry. So it's a really very well tested product. And in that, there's a semantic analysis where you can actually tell what your semantic density is. And in that sense, it provides sentient analysis. So what sentient analysis is sentimental is a good word to understand what sentient is. Is it positive? Is it negative? Is it neutral? And there are other packages that are on the market. They've quite highly expensive packages, but these will provide this sort of information for you as well on big data. So CISE Semantic Author is where we bring in the semantic analysis. So what we're looking for is conceptual clarity. We need conceptual clarity to write. So what the CISE word banks do is they give you that instantly. So what we do on the SEO ones, the CISE word banks, we'll just open that one up. Just a second. Okay. So we create these word banks, sending out the CISE bot, and that will go and have a look at a whole lot of sites that are authority sites that we determine are good ones to trawl and have a look at, and what connections and conceptual things they've got connected to it. And that provides us with a custom set. Now, the custom sets are very, very powerful. And so if you start integrating them into SEO, if we're putting it in, say, for any particular industry, the likelihood, especially in medium and small business, it's very much straight away to, because they're quite easy to rank for. These sites will tend to rank almost immediately. So we've got, for instance, we've got one off the shelf which we provide, which is a web design and development one, and we've also got a web marketing and SEO one, an exterior classroom.
Can I interrupt you for a minute? So say I'm a web design and development person and I'm looking for off the shelf. What would that cost me?
Well, that's $297 at the moment off the shelf. But in saying that, what we find, in a way, it's best to localize it. So a lot of these are custom builds. So what we'll do is we'll localize it. We'll make sure the localities are in. We'll cover all the local quirks. We can actually trawl the sites or your competitors and have a look at what's happening in the industry. We can actually isolate exactly what words they're using that you're not using. There's whole lots of benefits from it. And so we can actually analyze existing sites. So it's a sort of a consultation thing. We're doing several, we're doing some work in the US, and we're doing some work in Australia on this. And so we're building up, we're building these sets directly for people, and it's a consultation thing. What we've found is that it's better for me to get involved and lead people through that process, and then they can take it on from there. And so that's been quite a major aspect of it. There's an affiliate program also. So if you on-sell this, I've got a code that I'll give at the end of the program, which gives a 20% discount. So in other words, there's a 20%, the retail value is $297, but there's a 20% discount on that. So so that consultation I've found is quite important. And because it's a new concept, that consultation and training, you can learn quite a bit in 2 hours. And there are videos available as well.
Right. So if somebody wanted to just play around, Peter, just leave that up for just a second. So we have over where it says CISE apps in the middle, and then up at the top on the left it says CISE word banks. So we have
they're off the shelf, and they're instant. So you've got an instant word bank. You don't need to create it. It's something that you get immediately. So you get it on a plate basically. Whereas CISE word bank builder, you can build them yourself, right? So we've got a free version, which is a limited version. There are a couple of small things that you can't do in that, which is you can't copy the words to the clipboard, and you can't add to the word bank. But CISE word bank builder, for instance, is a completely different price model, and it works at a $10. It's actually $10 a month. So that is really sort of an inexpensive way to get into actually creating your own word banks. And Zara, you've had quite a bit of experience in using that particular version.
Yep.
Yeah. And so you can actually, and you've built some really good word banks out of it. And also it's connected with CISE wordplay, which is, CISE wordplay is a slightly different set, and it works off a slightly different data set. It's got a lot of idioms in it and sayings and things like that, whereas the word bank builder tends to use single concepts. So
yes.
Those are sort of intertwined.
Right. But what I like about the wordplay, well, the wordplay is really fun because it does come up with idiomatic expressions. But, sometimes when you're writing it, depending on your audience, when you're writing to people, general people, not sophisticated technicians or anything like that, expressions like first out of the gate, those work.
Yeah.
And they really do. Peter, maybe we can stop looking at this now because
it gives a good idea. And we'll come back to semantic author anyway, because that's a very specific product, which is quite different than what we've seen previously. Okay,
right.
let's go to, I'm hoping I can get across to this. Now, let's stop sharing, is it?
Yes, it has.
Yeah, okay. So we'll get there eventually. Screen share. So I've just got to get to the other one.
Vivek, I think.
Can you see that?
Vivek wanted you to zoom in, but
yeah, sorry, it probably could be a bit small on some devices. So I'll just make sure that I've got, just not getting the screen share there. So I'm not quite sure what's happening there. It's just stopped on me there, which is a pity. Yeah.
Okay, I think people on mobile devices had a really hard time seeing the.
They are quite. It is quite small for that.
And then Kristen Drysdale says Peter Hatherley has some wonderful tutorials on his site. I'm certain he'll list the links to them after the show. Yes, the limitations of technology. Yes, so because the mind map was really conceptual organization.
Yeah. So we should be able to get to that now. Can you see that now?
Yeah.
I can zoom in on this because it's a touch screen. So I'll just zoom in a bit so people can see it a bit better. Okay. So this is the one that Zara was working on with the drain laying. And so you can see that this set is created through the CISE bot going and going through certain sites that have been selected. And a lot of this set actually we've done very well locally with this particular industry in Christchurch. We've actually got 3 different companies, and they're all ranking in the top 4 or 5 for particular phrases, quite a few different phrases. So it's got a very general effect and a very long tail effect. So you can see all of those in there have all very strongly related to the industry, okay? But these, for instance, say if we go to drainage contractor, you can see how well CISE actually, I'll just have to press that. Sorry, long press. So when you're actually using this, it's most important to remember that's actually a long press, because you select by a single press and then it's a long press. I'll just zoom that up so people can see it better. So this is a result from CISE. Within this, we've created a unique data set for drain layers. And you'll note that everything that connects here is related to the industry. So what the word bank does, and the ones that are basically on a plate for you, they actually create the context for you. So you don't have to create the context. The context, and I think this is a very important issue, because with the proof of concept version, which is the complementary version, context is mixed, and you've got to sort of pick up what the difference in context is. Whereas this creates very definite boundaries, and you don't even have to think about it. You know that those things will be connected. All right.
Can I stop for a second and double check with everyone? Can everybody see this?
I'll zoom it in a bit further. So there we are. Is that better?
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah. Okay, so you can see structural, reconstruct, unrestricted, concrete, recognition, intertwined. Now, intertwined, people think, oh, what's intertwined to do with? Basically, one of the major problems with drains is that roots will grow through and actually go through and break the drains. So intertwined is very relative. Subcontraction is very important for drainage, and obviously very connected to drainage contractor. Infrastructure is obvious. So you can basically see that they're all connected. You don't even have to think whether it's connected or not. You know, recognition is obviously another one. But this works in all examples. So in everything in this set, say if we look at another one, say troubleshoot is maybe a good one to try. Oh, sorry, I haven't separated that off. That needs to be separated. Troubleshooters will work. There we are. So, okay.
Sorry.
So there's troubleshooters. You can see there are connections there that you can use. You know, obviously they're connected very strongly with the industry. Stress is a big problem with it.
I just want to back up for a second, Peter, and make sure that everybody understands how we got to this screen, because this is how you enlarge on your word bank.
That's right.
There was the basic set, and then Peter picked a phrase, in this case troubleshooters, and a whole new set of words came up.
That's right. And so you can actually add these. I'll just run through this. Say if you collect one and you want to choose outlets, you can then add that to the word bank by just clicking the star button. You can go back to the word bank by clicking that. And if you want to collect words and just use them straight away, you can just take it straight to the clipboard there and deselect. You can deselect them there. So you just click on that to deselect. Okay, so that's basically how word bank is created. You've got to realize that I think how this is made is by the same, very similar methods to how Google gets information out of a website. And so they rank people according to their semantic connection. So all of these things are of highly ranked sites. They're all connected and they're all related to those sites. So every single word, sometimes you don't even need to do the search. These words in themselves could rank you extremely highly just by using those words by themselves. And so, you know, they're obviously, like CCTV is a big thing with drainage these days, having a camera that goes down the drain and you can see problems with that. So those type of things are very, very important to comprehend that all
That's
can
actually how they see the intertwined roots.
That's right. And, you know, specialists specializing, all of those things, you know, those can be used. So when you select drain layer and you say you have specialist drainers that specialize in unblocking, for instance, which is, you know, blockages, those type of things. So suddenly if you select them, they stand out. Even though it's a large set, it's quite easy to see them and then copy them to the clip bank, the clipboard up here. So when you go up to this top bit here, then you just copy those to the clipboard, and then that will you know, be able to be pasted wherever you're using them.
Let me just add how I do that. What I do is I use Google Keep, and I make a note in Google Keep with a size word bank, and you know, I play around with the words a little and, you know, add some more to the total word bank. So then when I'm actually writing, the Google Keep note is over here and I can just see, oh, these are the words, and they go in my brain, and then I go back to writing and I see where they can be incorporated in the text. And then it's time for, you know, the next subheading, and I go back and I look at the entire word bank, because it's right there in front of me, and get some new ideas for how to build that next part of either the website or an article. So that's kind of my way of doing it. When I first started, I just copied with a little paper clip, which automatically sends all the words that you select to the clipboard on your computer. And then I would just plug them in to the document, which I was using for the original writing. But what I found was when I was writing, and as I created text, you know, the list would go down, down, down. Or if it was up at the top, if I was writing, it would disappear up here. So I found that Google Keep was a great way to have that word bank always in front of me and easy to refer to when I'm actually writing. Okay, Hart GA has a really good question. He says, does it also rank the words by most to least used?
Definitely a very good question, Hart GA. Very, very good question, and it does. So these are ranked, and you can do them alphabetical. In a way, it's easier to find the words, but I've always found it better to know which are the most important words. And obviously, drainage, drain layer, and drain laying are the main ones in this particular case. Very, very good question. And so basically, a very important thing to mention here, Zara, is this doesn't have the search functionality in it. It has the search within CISE itself, so it can search within the data set, but it hasn't. You can't actually directly search. It's got to select. So up in the top, on there, and this gives a good opportunity to explain what the difference is with searching, which is what you do with the other one. So that's select in this particular case. If we look at the complementary version, it's search, okay? Also, you'll notice this is a slightly smaller set. This is the conceptual one, and this particular set is based on couriers. So it's a good example of the type of results that you get. So you get obscure things like maybe a crusade, but that's sort of maybe a marketing idea, but it is semantically connected. And so in this particular case, if you go back to the word bank. I'll just get that a bit bigger. So you can see this is a slightly smaller set, but this has been built through the system. So these are words that are highly related to the courier industry, and you can see TradeMe is actually a New Zealand. It's a bit like eBay, but it got ahead of eBay in New Zealand on the internet, and is the major company in New Zealand for that particular purpose. So that's why that's in there, for instance. So it gives you an idea that basically this is the locational thing, that it's quite important to, because every industry has a few quirks in different places and different terminologies, just slightly different terminologies. So that's why it's best to get the CISE spot, to have a good look through and find the words that are really being used. So then you create this vocabulary, which you can actually then integrate and expand, as Zara was talking about. So for instance, if you click on parcels, say parcels, and it's a long press, you'll get a different result there. So it just goes through and searches. So this is the difference here, is that you can search. So say if I want to search for process, so then I can go to search, and then I can type in process. This is the difference, is there's a search functionality built into this, and you can type in whatever you want. So there is a chance that you might not quite get the context. You're best to try and keep close to the context, but in general terms, you'll find that it is really related, as it is in this case. But they tend to be individual concepts. Crossroads are very important, obviously, related to the industry. You can use those words, and obviously there are words there that basically you could be talking about the spaciousness of the place where these goods are stored or whatever. So that's basically how that works. There's a help file as well, where you can learn how to use CISE. That's available there, and so you can go back to the word bank at any time, and also add words that you think would be quite good there. So
let's go over up at the top just one more time, so people get an idea of how that works. Just
so that search. So if we go. So the actual word banks don't have a search facility built into them. The reason being is to maintain the context. So it's really making a set that's really really focused and targeted on a particular industry, and that's why they're so successful, is because you're working with the information, very similar information to what Google's looking at. So that means you're going to get really good context. This way you can be slightly more creative. If you understand my meaning, you can actually put in words that are slightly different, and then you'll get different results. It does give you the flexibility to be able to add to it. So, but we can set up a word bank either way. I prefer to recommend the select function in this particular case, because you can expand it within CISE, because it's got a large data set in itself, and it keeps it very tight. But you can have the search facility built into it as well. And it's a choice. It's whether you want to have that search facility or you have the fixed set. And I think the fixed set works really well because it keeps people on track. So in this, also in the semantics area, you can add more here, and that actually clicks through to the version that you like, Zara, the wordplay version.
Mm-hmm.
And the wordplay version has a, oh, hold on, just click there. So when you click on it, there's a charge to upgrade. That's all for individual sets, and you can charge, you can get any individual set that you want. It's just a small charge, very much like getting an app. So basically, you can see these are quite different. Super califragilistic expialidocious. Yeah, I got it right the second time. This shows you exactly what CISE can do, it can actually, if you actually watch that and you go through and have a look at it on a video, you'll notice on YouTube, for instance, you'll notice that a lot of these things fit in with that concept. But it gives you this sort of creative thing of where you can actually use different idioms and things like that. So that's where you can extend it into the idioms. And also, in this particular case, you get the sentient analysis. So you've got the green are thematic or neutral, the purple are positives or power words, and the bottom ones are obviously negatives. So those sort of things can be used to describe that particular thing. And it's quite an obscure, obviously it's all about words, and actually really interesting to listen to what they're saying about words there. It's really quite intriguing. So again, it's got all of the same features where you can add to the word bank, and you can use the clipboard. But this
so Peter,
is the
whoa, wait, yeah, up at the top, let me white box this. Up at the top, there's a star.
Yeah, that adds to the word bank.
Okay, and next to that is what does that do?
You just have the I've got
that returns you to all the searches that you've done.
They're just ones that I've added there. It's just it's not well, I mean, some of those are quite interesting actually, but there's one, budget rentals. Budget rentals. I was doing a job on budget rentals and just brought that up.
Right, and then the paperclip copies the words you select directly to your computer's clipboard. Yeah. And then what does the X do? The X unselects any words that you have selected. Is that correct?
Click that. Yeah. It's better with touch, so I just had to do that. So
okay.
So that's basically how it works.
Okay, thank you. I just wanted to go through the top symbol.
So and add those to the word bank as well. And obviously the wordplay version has also got search, so it's got full search facilities. And then you can, that has also got a subscription, whereas the unlock icon there, and you can log out and get to the word bank there. I haven't changed that icon over yet, but that icon will be the same as the other word bank. So so that shows you the range of what the CISE web app has developed. So there's three. There's one that's very SEO based. There's one that you use creatively and build word banks yourself. And then there's this third one, which is more idiomatic, and you're playing around with words and coming up with different connections to phrases as well. So that sort of extends that. And looking at the next stage, Semantic Author was the major product that we used here and we released here a couple of years ago. I'll go to that. So Semantic Author is using exactly the same concepts, but it has its, you can save what you're writing to the cloud. There's 7 sections there. You can see the 7 sections. So in this particular case, Catalyst for structural interpretation. That's the save to cloud there. So I'll just do that so you can see how that works. And you can see that it actually shows you what ones you've used and how many times you've used them. So this actually creates a very, very useful understanding about semantic density. So like in this particular case, we just got a phrase catalyst for structural interpretation. Now that's a 75% density, which is really, really high. Anything above 50% is going to really always rank. Even 40% you can get quite good rankings. But this is a way of actually looking and analysing your own competitors' content as well to see how much semantic density is in theirs. So it's very much a very practical product. This, in the sense, the other ones are more to create things that you're going to use elsewhere. This, you're able to do everything in the same area. So you can actually, for instance, I'll show you the buttons here at the top. You can go, you can arrange it by alphabetical. I'll do it by touch, it's a lot easier. So that's alphabetical. And then you can also do a random one. So random is quite useful because you can throw up some ones that you might not have thought of. And then you can also, you can save the order, which is this one here. So you can save the order if you like that order. So I'll just save that order. Oh, okay. Right. So that's saved that order. Now, the other thing is that you can actually add extra ones here. So you can delete them, ones that you don't want, and you can add into the individual section. So it's very flexible, and it's a final part. It's like a final part of the process. So we've created this word bank. Now we've got a place where we can put it all together. And so this brings context to the whole idea of how the word banks are created. We create the word bank in the other app, then it's loaded into here, and then you do your writing in here. So this is actually part of the package for the word bank. So even though they're $2.97, you're getting this app and you're getting the other app. There will be ones that are less expensive, but in general terms, we've priced it basically to fit the SEO, the SEO expenditure for most websites. So it will fit most smaller websites if they're really wanting to be serious and try and get to the top of the search engine. The thing is with semantics, it's a lot of people have been talking about semantics, and I've always been of the point that positioning is very important. So positioning, you've got to get your positioning right first. It's all very well engaging and then converting, but the positioning is number one. So if you get your positioning, then what you find with semantic content, because it's very rich, it is very engaging, and then of course the other angle is conversion. So it's going through those three simple stages when you're writing and thinking about those stages that when you're using these words that the likelihood of being high on the engines is extremely high. And it's as you can see, it's way beyond a keyword tool. It's way beyond what we know as keyword analysis tools in the past. So this is more semantic keywords, and as we've discussed, Sarah, more really on concepts.
Yes, it is on concept. So I have a question, and then Hart GA has a question. So I just want to pick up from keywords, because I know there was a discussion a couple of weeks ago on a post on Google Plus about keywords, and people come and watch these on YouTube afterwards. So if you could just briefly explain the difference,
Yeah.
So I have 20 keywords and I want to stuff them all in my article. How is this different than that?
Yeah, it's really because it's semantic. It's obviously you're never going to be penalised for it, because no one will penalise the English language. If you're more rich in your language, Google actually likes it. Their patents all point to that being the way that they like things. So it really is quite different in that sense. In a way, what our problem was in this area, and it is still a sticking point for a lot of people, we probably got the wrong idea of what a keyword was. Keywords, these are all, in terms of we forget the actual previous meaning of it, these are all in a way keywords. But who would have ever thought crucial was a keyword, or imperative was a keyword, or appreciative was a keyword? You see, it's connecting the dots of all of the different semantic connections. And you could sit there and think these out, but in this particular case, protocols is a fairly sort of abstract concept, which is really quite an interesting one to look at. And we've got a free version of that, which I'll post later. It's a version of core values and things like that. So, and you can search these and you can use it within this product. So I want to put this out there so people can actually play around with the product, They don't have to pay for it. They can see how this works, and they'll get a far better idea of you know, how it operates, because they can play around with it themselves.
That's really terrific. We have a couple of more questions, and that is Heart GA wants to know, does the word bank also take into account metadata?
Yeah, well, I mean, metadata, obviously, keywords and metadata is probably not necessary now, because you know, Google have made it very, very clear that they're not ranking that. But descriptions are very important. So building a good description and having semantic density with the description is vital. We're just working on a project, it's a company in Chicago, and that's been the big thing, is getting the semantic density up. It's a very, very competitive industry, and you've got to really still use keywords in it, but you've got to give it identity as well. So you've got to have a uniqueness, and this is not really, like, to me, I think of semantics as an infusion or a connecting of the dots. It's definitely not keyword stuffing as such, and sometimes they're just triggers for ideas, as you know. And Zara, when you've used it, the key is in the use of it. It's all very well to look at it. Once you actually use it, see what the results. And the thing I like best about this product, and I get more out of than probably even the product itself, is having a look at the Google Analytics afterwards, because, you know, the results are really quite impressive.
And, the results are really amazing, and you know, I had such astounding results in 4 weeks' time. I was just blown away. Anyway, and then Lee Rickler says, whoops, let me bring this up. Lee Rickler says, you keep saying it's going to rank, but what's it going to rank for?
Yeah, well, that's a good point. It's the way a good example is locally here for, say, web design and web marketing. Web marketing is our major focus, obviously, and SEO. But we rank very highly for web design also. And out of the top 50 phrases that I'm tracking, and this includes conversational phrases, the average position is 2. The latest one I did was about 2.2. So that means the majority of them are number one. And a good example is the drainage sites for broken drains. One company's got 2 listings at the top. A completely different company that I've used exactly the same sets for is number 3, and then another company which is completely different again is I think it's about 5th at the moment, actually. But that gives you an idea. It can rank, and this is, say, on broken drains is the one I'm thinking of, but it can rank for broken drains, blocked drains, you know, drainage contractors, drain layers. It ranks for all of those, because what happens is Google is thinking this. It's almost like you bolstering it underneath.
Can I stop you for a second? Could you stop screen sharing so we can see you?
Yes, I'll come back.
Thank you.
Good point. Okay.
Yay. Thank you.
Eventually got back. Yeah, obviously, you know, that's a very important part. And what I've found is by connecting all the dots, and obviously we've heard a lot from David Ameland and other people who really understand this well, of how semantic search works. It's because you're using a richness or a tapestry of meaning and a tapestry of understanding that Google's going to say, hey, this is an authority site. They're using all the words that are the right words. It's not just the keywords anymore. You've got to use far more than keywords. Keywords you've still got to use. I've got a saying that I've used at different times, and it's keywords are a great starting point, but they're no longer the destination. So in other words, they're great for seed searches and things like that. So if you put drainage contractor in it, you get a great search out of it and you get some extra bits. But in the old days, we just thought about those main keywords, and we're sort of like a stuck record almost. And most sites were always just doing the same thing over and over again. This way, you can be very creative, and yeah. So it's
Peter Lee Rickler says you're better looking than a word bubble. I have to agree, Lee.
Yeah. But, you know, the last ones we've done, we haven't shown the product off well. So I'm pleased that we've had an opportunity to show those products, and just a bit on how it works. Obviously, we've only got an hour to do it, so
Right. And, you know, one of the things is that, you know, there are, as Kristen said earlier, there are videos on the site, and they really help you walk through and understand how to use them more. And Peter, I wanted to save this for the end, but WeWake has a new thing that he just created. It's called Sheets to Tweet. And he says, by the way, my Sheets to Tweet, Wake Technology Simplicity, is tweeting about this HOA every 15 minutes. So thank you so much, WeWake. I saw your post earlier about your new product. That's really fantastic.
I love it. Yeah. Sounds good. I must check it out. Yeah.
Right. And then Ugo says, I'm impressed. Great work, Peter Hatherley. What about key phrases, 2 to 3 words? Seems to me that intent can change a lot when words are combined in a specific way, unless I'm missing something.
That's a great point, Hugo. And it brings up a thing that I call it semantic fusion. You select words that are connected and they're related to each other. They tend to have a natural fit. So that's a very good way to develop small sentences. And the way that I tend to write when I'm writing with CISE is I will collect phrases and I'll put them into groups or a sentence that I like. And I actually do it in the mind map that we were using earlier, Xmind, which is a nice free mind map. And so basically you can paste your sentences. So you take, say, three or four words that you know that would make a really good sentence. And obviously each time you do that, it's something new and it's something different. So then you can just start collecting them and putting them in the right place, like you've been doing, Zara. So it's sort of collecting them and organizing them. But the whole idea of the semantic fusion is very important. I remember the one that I got out of web design, which was body language. And of course, body is part of web design and it's part of the code. And then you've got language, which is part of web design. But when you put them together, it's something new. And, and it became quite a good metaphor to actually write about how Google actually sees it. So they're looking at your body language. The people who visit there are looking at your body language. And so it sort of had a nice dual effect in that way. So that shows you some of the creative aspects, because I really thought of using it before.
I just want to add to that too, that when you're using the search functionality, you can add 2 and 3. I think I've even done 4-word phrases to come up with a word set. So it isn't limited to one word. As Peter says, it's very contextual, so that you can enter those 3 words and see what emerges, which is going to be, you're so right, Ugo, it's vastly different than entering one of those words, because there is that connectivity. You've already connected some dots. Now you're expanding on the dots that you're connecting. You know, we could go on with this for a long time. We've gone way over time already. So I think I am going to bring this to a close. Peter, this is just fantastic. I know that you have a 20% affiliate key that you're going to put in the comments for everyone. So I think that's just fabulous. Thank you so much. And I know also that if you have particular questions after the show, you can leave them here in the comment stream, and Peter will be answering those as they come up, especially, you know, if you go in and you play with it for the first time, you may have some questions coming up. So I want to thank everybody. It's so great to be back. So thank you all for joining us. And Peter, thank you for sharing all this information. This is really a fabulous tool. So thank you so very, very much. All right. Thank you, everyone. Ciao.
Thanks. Yep. Bye.